Okay, contact ratios. This is the other, and we just went through this the other day. Permission to speak freely? No. Okay. This is actually a little bit of challenging for me. It's a little bit frustrating because they're actually kind of similar because they're franchises. Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep. They're both in southern, markets. This is Tuscaloosa, Alabama. This is in Jackson, Tennessee. They have severe credit issues. They've got the bankruptcy capital of the world is Tennessee. So again, in this store, there was a lot of, I think, bullshit that was being said. We identified as far as, not from you, but as far as, it's like, it's the weather, it's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. The first thing that I think that you need to understand, and everybody else needs to understand as well, is you need to know what the proper metrics are. Everybody listen to me on this. This is very important. If you want to convert, you need to know what the conversion ratios are. So actually, let's do this right here. Let's go through the numbers. Okay, as a trainer, we use like a 50-50-50 analogy or an example. So what I mean by that is if you want to sell, let's just say 50 cars, you need to get 100 bodies to show up for an appointment. To get 100 bodies to show up for an appointment, you need to make 200 appointments. To make 200 appointments, you need about 400 to 500 leads. Do you guys see how I did that? I'm going to repeat that. To sell 50 units, you need to get 100 people to show up. Get 100 people to show up, you need to make 200 appointments. To make 200 appointments, you need to have 400 to 500 leads. Now, that's the trainer. Let me give you an easy, non-difficult number to make it ratio-wise. But here's what the real numbers are, okay? From leads to appointments made, it's probably about a 32 to 35%. 32 to 35. Now, once you make an appointment to get them to show up, that's probably about a 60 to 65%, okay? Now, from appointment that shows to sales, that's roughly, anyway, depends how strong or weak your floor is, and that could be anywhere from, let's say, 42 to 50%. So again, long story short, it's going to be a lot less to make appointments. It should be a hell of a lot higher to get them to show up, and then around average, 42 to 50% for appointments that get delivered. Here's why. The hardest part of the internet sales, the hardest part is just getting somebody on the phone. That's the hardest part. Matter of fact, J.D. Power says that the numbers are between 12 to 15% contact ratio. That means for every 100 phone dials that you have, you're only going to get about 12 to 15% of these people to actually answer the phone. So again, it is what it is. You just got to factor that into the reality of what your job is. The hardest part is getting them on the phone. But once you get them on the phone, and if you make the appointment, game on. Because about 60 to 65% of the people are actually going to show up for an appointment. And once they show up for the appointment, it's about a 42 to 50% closing ratio. It's a lot easier once you get them on the phone. Does that make sense? So now the first part, Christopher over here, is knowing what the benchmark standards are. Now that we know what they are, how do we make this happen? So to make it happen, what you're going to need to do is have a plan. What I want you guys to do is write this down. I wish I had a whiteboard. I can't do it. I should have a tablet. All right. So just write, let's just say, I'm going to use my magic finger like we're opera room, right? Okay, let's just start and put 50 units over here to the right. Circle 50. Then a line, put 100, line 200, line 400 to 500. Okay? So you've got that there. 50, 100, 200, 400, 500. You guys got that? Okay, now the next thing that's going to happen is, what does that mean? Okay, well, to break it down, to sell 50 cars, I need to get 100 people to show up. I need to make 200 appointments. So in essence, to sell 50 units, I need to make 200 appointments in a month. Is that correct? Together?
Yes.
Okay, good. So now, if we take 200 appointments in a month, divided by 4 weeks, is what? 50 appointments per week. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, divided by 5 working days is what? 10 appointments a day. Do you all see that? Okay, now that could be divided by if you've got 2, 3 coordinators or 4 coordinators, etc. So I'm beginning with the whole end result in mind. If I know what I'm trying to sell, I know what the ratios are, now I need to know what my team needs to do, let it go, needs to do on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. That's what needs to happen, is that your team from the internet director as well as the internet coordinators need to have two pieces of data. We need to know what their goal is, how many units they're going to sell, and then how the hell they're going to do it. And I'm going to make it very specific, and I'm going to do this just off my head, is that to do that, you need to make, we preach 120 attempts. If you do 120 attempts, anybody got a calculator? Mm-hmm. Okay, somebody say yes? Yeah, I got it. Okay, good. So my car's direct guy. You, over there. Okay, so if you have, if you turn around and make 120 phone calls, okay, what's 12% of that? It's like 14, right? 14.4. So it's close. Okay, so now follow me. At 12% connection ratio, if you make 120 phone call attempts, you're only going to get 14 people on the phone. And I think it's like 18 is like 15% or something like that. So between 14 and 18 people on the phone. And now out of that, you know, divide that by, you know, 0.25, which is 25% is what? 60? No. Yeah. Okay, so if we've got 14, right? Huh? 3.7, that's it. So 3.7. So do you see how that works? If we made 120 attempts in a day, if we get 14 people on the phone, we should make 3.7 appointments. Do you guys see that? Yeah. Now my people know, now my coordinators know what they've got to do. Every day they need to make 120 attempts because 120 attempts is going to get me between 3 and 6 appointments a day. And if I can get 3 to 6 appointments a day per person, I'm now in sync to be able to hit my goals. So now, how do you do that? What you need to do is you need to have everybody, from you as the GM to your internet director to your coordinators on the same page. The problem with a lot of dealerships, and this is what's crazy, everything all right?
Yeah. It's fine. Everything's falling. I'm just a little bit.
We'll take a break and we'll just take them now. All right. So get close-up shots, though. I want to get this data in here. This is important stuff. Again, the very, very important aspect of this is once you guys have the roadmap, everybody needs to be on the same page because most of the times I find, Tina, you know what I mean? And I want your opinion on this. A lot of times the dealer has their perspectives or ways that they figure out their numbers and their data. The internet director has their ways in doing stuff, and then the individual coordinators have their own way as well. And that's what a big part of the problem is, that everybody's marching at a different beat of a different drum. So to answer you first, it's very important is that, one, you need to know what your benchmark data is, what your algorithms are, what your numbers are, your formulas, and then everybody needs to be trained and held accountable to that. Does that make sense? That's probably the most important aspect. Todd?